G'day everyone, and welcome to our very first podcast here at St. Luke's. Basically, what this podcast is about is just really getting to know our students, getting to know our staff, getting to know the school community, but also to have our discussions of what's happening at school, what's happening around our community, what's happening with our well-being, how we can go ahead and enhance our well-being, and what are some tips and strategies. And over the next, next few weeks, or more so the next year, the more times we'll do this podcast, the more we get to know the people that will be appearing on these podcasts. And today we've got some special guests, and our special guests from Year 12, our current Year 12 cohort, who have volunteered their time to come in early at school today. That's the late start today, isn't it, girls? And to just be part of our very first podcast. And I'd like to introduce Natalia, Anika and Reese, and they're three of our current Year 12 house leaders, or the school house leaders. So welcome, girls, and thanks for coming today on our very first podcast. Actually, it's a very, quite a important duty you got here, or because you're the very first ones to be on this podcast. And if it's successful, and if it's still going in 3 or 4 years' time, then you can always say you guys were the very first to be on it. And everyone will go look back at this one, so no pressure, but you've got, it just depends on how this rolls up. So I guess our editor is going to be editing quite a bit, because to be honest, this is my first podcast too, so quite nervous, but hey, let's see how it goes, hey? We probably could be in a job, or we'd probably be out of a job by next term. So firstly, like I said, welcome, and tell me a little bit about yourselves, girls, and why you're at St. Luke's, and what do you like about St. Luke's, and what have you liked about St. Luke's so far? So I might start with you, Natalia.
Okay. Well, I've been at St. Luke's since Year 7. I guess it's just been nice to see, the school progress and grow, and do trial and error with new things, and just to see where what it's come to and where it's going is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's come quite a long way, hasn't it?
Yeah.
In a little amount of time. Mm-hmm. So what about you girls? Anika, what do you think?
Well, I think it was a really great experience being able to see the new way such a different school has allowed students to learn. So I think that's a really good thing about the school.
Yeah, fantastic. And Reese?
I'm the same. So I've been here since Year 7 as well, and I've seen the school not only look different building-wise, but the teaching as well has developed better. And I think that with the new practices we take on, such as the houses, it's good to see, because students are more connected as the school is growing and still developing.
Yeah, and it's funny you say your teaching's got better. I'm glad it has got better, but we'll ask Miss Bauer what she thinks. She's been here from the start. But you're quite right. You've been travelling with the school since it's pretty much its beginning, and you've seen what's grown, and it's sort of helped you as well, because you were able to then go out into the real world, and you can basically implement things from the beginning to the start, and you see how it's worked and see how things grown. So yeah, I guess it's good to be part of it. And as you said, it brings the community together. And now, talking about bringing community together, we just recently had a house launch day. How did you guys see about that? Was it a good day?
That was.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about it, and anyone can jump in here. What was really good about having a house launch day, or having houses to start off with, I guess?
I think, in my opinion, we haven't had houses like this before, so it was fun to see students interact and engage more, because it's something they weren't exposed to before. So in this case, they were more excited and had something to look forward to, because there was a bit of competition there.
Yeah.
And I felt like, especially with the house chants, all the students were so into it, and it was fun to see, because we haven't really been in groups like that before.
Yeah.
It just built the spirit up within St. Luke's.
I've got to say, those house chants were pretty loud, and it was awesome. And you guys did a really good job of leading that way, because you created those chants too, didn't you? And you led them, and it was great to see the whole community, including everyone from K to 12, really participate in those chants. So great job, guys, in regards to those chants. And that's another thing too. You've been on the first podcast. You've created the first chants of this school. you've had some, you've really established what this school has become. So this is why, you guys here on the first podcast is because, you're the pioneers of a lot of things at this school, and you're going to leave this school with a legacy, no doubt. So what else happened at leadership? So, in that house launch day. So great school community got together. They would collaborate really, really well. What other things was so good about that house launch day?
Well, I think it was it was the first time other year groups got to interact with one another. I think that was really good to see.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, it was just the first time that's happened, and they seemed like they were having so much fun with one another, so that was really good.
Yeah, well, we do have mentors, and that's probably the initial part of other year groups interacting with each other. But, yeah, I guess when it comes out in more of a competitive field, kids just sort of, really want to work for each other. And that was really good, and I'm glad you sort of put that point, because I saw out there kids really, your fellow students, doesn't matter what year group, they were cheering the others on and trying to get points for their year group. Like, for example, there was those minute to win it competitions. There was a student in year 5, and obviously competing against other houses, and you had kids in year 7 cheering them on and jumping up and down to make sure he gets there first, and so forth. So it was really good to see that community and that really good camaraderie come out together. So Natalia, what's your thoughts?
I was just thinking, like, adding on to that, it was really good in a sense that we've built this identity, because I know personally with me being one of the student leaders in my house, after that day, I had children coming up to me in all different grades being like, oh, did we win? We did so good today. We did that. And I guess it's just that sort of that foundation for everybody in that house. So I guess, like, for the young kids to look up to the older kids and just have that, like, sort of connection and that identity, saying, like, oh, well, like, I'm in this house, I'm in that house, sort of like.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And like you said, they really got to know who you guys were as leaders, which is fantastic, and did a great job in that aspect. And I guess I know there's only a limited amount of time that you've got here at school, but I'm looking forward to see what our next steps are. One term to go. Girls, how you feeling?
Scared.
I don't think there's you don't need to be scared. I think there's a lot to look forward to. And that's just me talking, by the way, but I can sense your fear. HSC is always a bit of a daunting time. Have you guys prepared yourselves?
Getting there.
Yeah?
I mean, teachers are preparing us, helping us. They're like letting us know that it's it's coming.
Yeah, and I can see a lot of talk about preparing for the HSC. You've got this HSC success series that's happening at the moment, which is fantastic, and you've got really good leaders leading that as well. And there's a lot of experience here when it comes to teachers with experience with their HSC marking and HSC development of exams and all that. So there's a lot of people that you can fall back on, which is fantastic. And there's a good support network and a lot of people in the know. How about your fellow students? How are they feeling?
Probably the same. But I think the teachers have actually, they've done a good job trying to prepare us, especially with these HSC workshops every Wednesday.
Yeah.
So they're pushing for it. Now it's just up to us to give ourselves the motivation and determination to actually put the hard work in to get good results.
Yeah, well done, Reese. Yeah, very well said. And that's exactly right. The ball is pretty much in your court now. So it's the amount of work that you do in preparation for your HSC. But really, guys, just got to look at it as another exam. Is there any advice that you probably give to the current Year 10s? I'm sort of bypassing Year 11 only for a sec because they've already had that year experience, so they should know what it's like. But what advice would you give Year 10s? I know they've just done their subject selections, or they're about to, and they're thinking about their futures. And is there anything that you would sort of tell them?
Maybe just like this, like, don't put too much pressure on yourself, because as I know it's like cliche, but like the HSC, it's not like the be all and end all. Like, there are plenty, like a multitude of opportunities out there for you to achieve what you want to achieve, and there's no point in putting that much pressure on yourself to, I guess, make other people happy. Like, at the end of the day, you just want to make yourself happy. If you know you've put in 110% effort, then that's all that matters.
That's exactly right. If you put the effort, just make sure that you're happy with your own performances. And you're the best judges of that. You can judge basically where you judge yourselves. Like, if you put in enough work, then you should be satisfied with that. If you haven't, then obviously you're just going to think about that a little bit more and maybe put that extra effort in. That's fantastic. So just recently you went on a retreat. You know, was it the first time you guys actually camped, or you could camp or stay together in one place overnight?
No, we
Like,
when
you've
in
had
year
that
8,
experience? Oh,
we had a
okay.
camp in year 8.
Okay, before COVID hit. So you guys were quite lucky with that regards. Fortunately, some year groups have missed out because of COVID, and they're still missing out because, you know, there's still certain restrictions when it comes to camping. So tell me, what's the difference between year 8 camp and year 12 retreat?
I think like the meaning behind it is
Yeah.
really different. Like year 8, it's just your second year in high school. You're going there to have fun. You know, it's a big sleepover with your friends. But year 12, it's like it's your last time being together with all your peers. Like these are the guys you've been with since day one. And
Yeah, so it's a bit of a
just-
sentimental
yeah.
value too. What was the meaning behind the retreat too? You said it had a different meaning.
I think it was more like to look within ourselves, like more of like a self-reflection,
Yeah.
but like as well, sort of like a group reflection, like understanding like ourselves. I guess we did have like an aspect of understanding where you are in like your faith journey and stuff like that, but it was also just like understanding where you, like for those who might not be Catholic or might not have a faith, like where you're at in your life, like where you want to go, your values, what you see, and then just reflecting on that individually and collectively was.
Yeah, good point, Natalia. You just did say reflection upon your own personal and social capabilities. You could say also your social development, and like you mentioned, values, you know, identifying those values and things that's really important in life, and how much you're able to contribute that, you know. And if you're not spiritually inclined, at least this way gave you some, I guess, food for thought in regards to how you should live your lives. But obviously it is a connection with God as well, and that's something quite significant in our scope of our school, is that connection to God, knowing that God's going to be with us there all the time. So anything else you want to add about retreat? It was a good time away?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good food, great food.
Yeah.
Great food. I heard about that. What was the best? Okay, I'm going to ask you this. What was the best what was the best food there on the
The breakfast
Satay
buffet.
chicken.
No, the breakfast buffet.
the breakfast buffet is
We had one
always
like
great.
every morning.
Yeah,
They-
they had like 6 meals.
Yeah, they kept us full,
It was
like
so-
to the brim.
So yeah, the food was fantastic. You know, I've just been from off a cruise, and I've got to say, eating every day can be, and all you can eat can be quite a challenge. But it's a challenge I'm always well after anyway. So, what's the next steps, guys? I know you still got a term at school. What's the next steps for each of us? What's our career choices? Well, what are we looking at doing next year?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm currently, whilst doing HSC, studying at TAFE as well. So I'm doing a Cert 3 in Health Assistance at the moment.
Oh, great.
So I guess I do want to go to uni after, but I'm looking at like a course that's nursing and paramedicine in the one.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, like.
I think you'd be fantastic. You always come across as a very caring person. So, tell me, what do you reckon, Anika?
Well, I don't want to go to uni. So I had like in mind I was gonna pursue something in like dentistry, but it's there. It's still there. It's just a lot to think about. And I guess it's not always like, it's not a definitive idea, but it's definitely up
that's
there.
an idea. That's good. And you're sort of thinking about the strengths that you have, and that
Yeah.
might be your strengths towards your workforce, which is fantastic. And you know, if you want to make a lot of money, just get me on your and I'll guarantee you'll be making a lot of money out of my teeth. Reese.
I'm kind of the same. So it's kind of a lot because you have a lot of options. Like being still in the HSC, you're looking at different courses, and a lot of them are of interest to you. But as of right now, I'm looking at sports science.
Oh, fantastic.
So yeah, and like leaning towards medicine, but at the same time, it's not like 100% because I still need to figure out like where my strengths really are at.
Yeah, good.
And where my interests are at, especially. Yeah.
So have you sort of figured out your strengths? Like, did the life design help you here at this school in regards to knowing where you're heading?
I think definitely because starting from year 7, we had pathways.
Yeah.
So that was a really big step because from year 7, we were thinking about what we wanted to do in the future already. started working on that. We were completing little milestones. For instance, like different projects as to our steps towards that certain career. And I think over time, students like us have just like we've experienced it and we become more knowledgeable in certain areas, and from there we choose what aspects we like and what we don't like. And then I just think that there's a lot right now, and we're just all starting to hone in on one specific area, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. Before I move on and ask the really, really important questions of you, is there anything else you'd like to add? Would you recommend anything to our students in regards to their well-being? Like, go for it.
I think because for year 10s, for example, they think they're probably overwhelmed with what might come in the senior years for 11 and 12 when it comes to HSC. But in my opinion, I think having a work and life balance is really important. Balancing your schoolwork and your social life, for instance, is key, because I feel like if you overload yourself with schoolwork, you're going to be overwhelmed and essentially perform not the best. So having some time for yourself, some time with friends, whilst making time to study and prioritize school is really important.
So tell me, what are the qualities of a good student? Is it really hard to think about it?
No, when it comes to
So I would have thought you just think of your own qualities, you know? And
Personally, like, I want to say, like for an individual, like patience.
Yeah,
Like, I
good.
know, like, you have to, like, come, like, terms of, like, if you're in a class and you learn about a topic, you might not understand it straight away, and that might frustrate people. They're like, well, why not understand it? But it's like, have that patience, like, be kind to yourself and, like, know that, well, maybe it is a complex topic and you're not going to, like, know it
yeah.
in one thing.
You know what, that's a good point, because I think patience is really important, because, and that could work both ends, because you yourself need to be patient with yourselves, because you're not going to always get it, and you can just, go back home and do a bit of research and find out what the information is too. I think it's important to be patient with the teacher too, because your teachers are looking after 60 odd in one classroom at times, and so therefore they've really got to cater to everyone's needs. And I think vice versa, teachers know that they've got to be patient with you guys too. So patience is a really good point. Yeah, excellent. And an ideal person would be a patient person, because not everyone gets it at the right time. Like, I've got to be the first to put my hand up. If people talk to me and I'll be sitting there going, what the hell, I don't know what they're really talking about, and because I don't really get things really straight away, so I've got to go back and write it all out and then go back and really think about, okay, this is what we're going to do next thing. So not everyone works, at 5 seconds an hour. So 5 seconds an hour. God, I'm really good with my words today. I'm always like this anyway. See, patience. Be patient. If you're watching this, I'm sure you've got a lot of patience. Patience is a good one. Okay. And would you say that would be a quality for an ideal parent?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too, And I guess, if my kids are watching this right now, they could probably tell, Dad's got to, talk about patience a little bit more and deal with it. Because tell you what, these days I don't have many, but I should. Tell me, you asked me to ask you this question before. What's your favourite food?
Pickles.
Pickles. Have you gone to the shop and got those flavoured pickles in that? They actually sell pickles on its own, flavoured pickles.
Oh, the bag ones.
Like the garlic ones. And
Yeah,
the
those
spicy.
ones.
I sell them at work.
Oh, that's right. You at your work. So yeah, I've got to say they're quite tasty. I love pickles. Everyone, when I go to Macca's, there's a lot of people I go with that don't like pickles, and I just chuck it on my burger. I swear my burger's a pickle burger.
So but the thing is, they have to be in the fridge. Like they have to be cold.
Okay, you're giving me tips now.
Because if they're in the fridge, they become a bit crunchy. Whereas if you just get them straight out of the cupboard, they'll be like soft.
Well, there you go. If you're going to buy pickles, make sure you put them in the fridge, okay? But good tip. And how about you guys? What's your favourite food?
Sushi.
Lasagna.
Sushi and lasagna. Okay. Sushi train is always good, especially one over Rouse Hill.
Yeah.
And lasagna,
Yeah.
I had a friend called Garfield once. He loved lasagna.
Don't laugh
if anyone's my age, they'll know exactly what I'm
Yeah, the
talking
cat.
about. There you go. Garfield the cat. Loved lasagna.
With the dog.
There you go.
The other dog, was it Odie? The
I
dog?
don't know the dog.
Yeah,
I didn't
so
have
it was-
too much. I didn't pay too much about the dog. I just knew Garfield loves lasagna, so I admired Garfield. I'll tell you, my favourite food is smoked salmon. So
Oh, salmon.
and
Ah,
no smoked salmon.
Salmon's so
And the best
good.
thing was when I went to a couple of Asian countries, they actually have smoked salmon. It might be just the place that I went to as part of their breakfast.
Yeah.
And my plate was just this much of smoked salmon. I can't get enough. Smoked salmon, cream cheese, bit of capers on the sandwich. You've got me. You've stolen my heart. All right, big question. If you had a dinner party, right, and you could invite 3 people, living or dead, who would you invite and why? The food yourself, hey?
One person for sure I would have is Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he the comedian?
Yeah.
Yeah. And why is that?
I think it would just be so funny.
I guess
Yeah.
he'd be very entertaining.
Yeah.
I guess you wouldn't need to invite anyone else, would you? Because he'd just take the role.
It's so funny.
no, you need to
Yeah.
invite someone so he has someone to make fun of.
The Rock.
Your best
Oh,
friend.
Yeah.
I'd invite The Rock, but then we'll have to have a push-up challenge, and I'm afraid that I'll embarrass him. How about yourself? Who would you invite, Reese?
I don't know. There's a lot. Like, can I have a full table?
Yeah. Would you invite Einstein, considering you're the house leader of Einstein, and
I mean, yeah, of course. He'll be on my table too.
he'd be the head of table, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he'll be like, 10-seater.
Yeah.
He'll be the one. I'll be on the top. He'll be opposite me, straight in front. I can directly talk to him, ask him about advice, and if he can lend me some of his knowledge too, because I need it for my HSC.
I don't think I don't think Einstein would go too well in the HSC. I think he's just really smart at a lot of things, but I think these HSC questions might be a bit complicated sometimes. I know I could be wrong, but yeah. Anyway, no, I'm totally wrong. He'd kill it. Who would you have at your dinner table?
The Queen.
Yeah, and why the Queen?
I don't know. She just seemed like a very
A very nice.
nice,
Gentle
nice
person.
and then she can explain to me how the whole monarchy works. Because
Yeah.
I still really don't understand.
Because King Charles wouldn't be able to do that, would he?
No.
No, I think the Queen had something special about her, right?
Yeah.
And that's why she was in for the job for. Well, I was going to say in the job for that long, but obviously she's in the job until she
great
died.
representation of a leader.
Yeah,
There you go.
good, excellent. That's fantastic. I noticed that none of you said Mrs. Bauer will have at the table.
No, I said I had
She's
10
watching this,
seats.
by the way.
I said I had 10 seats, so we'll have Miss Bauer,
Okay, fantastic.
Medio.
Oh, thanks. You invited me.
Yeah.
As long as you got smoked salmon on the menu, I'd come. But no, it's fantastic, girls. Right, so very last question.
Okay.
Favourite time at St. Luke's? So you've been here since what? Reese, you've been here since
7.
year 7?
Yep.
So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, the 5 years? Year 7?
Year 7.
You guys have all been here since year 7, so you almost were here from the beginning, which is great. So you've seen it when you got here. What did the place look like?
Not like
It
this.
was
Our
like-
office was the classroom. Our
It
classroom.
was
Yeah.
like 1/5 of what
Oh,
we had
okay.
right now.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
office was our-
The office was so the office over there was your classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Oh wow. Okay,
We
and
switched, we changed classrooms like every term.
Yeah.
I think at one point the theaterette was our classroom.
Yeah.
Oh,
At the end of year
okay.
10.
Yeah, it did turn into our classroom.
so you've seen the whole school legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and the thing is, I don't think your classrooms have ever been. You're
Never been definite.
Yeah.
no, so maybe you move in with 2 weeks to go of your new
Oh,
classroom.
imagine.
But that's the way it is. Unfortunately, a growing school is like that. But you guys have, obviously. Oh, let's go back. What's your favourite time? Sorry, I've actually just. So, what's your favourite moment?
thing or favourite time?
Oh, favourite thing, favourite moment, favourite person,
I
favourite.
think
food?
it's just the bond over the years that our cohort has developed. Like, I feel like we're such like a mini family, I guess, because we are like that little. But like, I guess we've seen each other grow and develop over the years, and like, I guess like we just get excited for each other. Like even
Yeah.
like even though we do have like our definitive friendship groups, we're all just like one big like
Yeah.
family. Like if someone in another group were to say something about something that happened in their life, like we'd be so excited for them. We're like, oh, good job, like well done, you know, like.
That's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
really good. Would you guys agree with that?
100%.
Yeah, I think retreat really topped it off for all of us because,
Yeah.
like Natalia said, Year 12 and the teachers, we all are a family, and if you were there watching us, it would be hard to tell that we were in actually different groups because you'd think that everyone there was like has been best friends for ages.
Yeah.
We were all just like together and we were connecting. It was really
Yeah.
fun.
I've got to say, the teachers I've spoken to came back on a high because they said that, you know, it was exactly what you just said. You know, you all really worked really well together, and, you know, it's really unfortunate that, you know, you guys can't repeat Year 12 and do it again because
Yeah.
you're such a great year group in that regard. So, yeah, I guess, you know, if that's your favourite time or favourite moment or favourite bit about school, that's fantastic. Before we leave, our very, very first podcast, and hopefully this happens again, this is going to be probably your very last chance to say something because we're going to obviously rotate, have different people doing it. Do you want to say anything? Do you want to give your farewell speech now?
Farewell speech.
Well, it's your last chance. I know. It's only one turn to go. Do you realise that? How do you feel about that?
So crazy.
Yeah.
Our schooling life, what we've done.
It's like so surreal.
Scary.
Yeah.
But you know what? You guys did so well in this podcast. We're going to bring you guys back next year, and you're going to have to talk to the Year 11s about how Year 12 was like, because I think some of them probably need to know what Year 12 is really like, and how the HSC, how you felt about HSC too. It's always good to have Year 12s coming back and talking to the current cohort. So I'm going to get you guys back and not only talk about, well, perhaps, you know, Miss might get you back to talk to the Year 11s or so forth, but I'm definitely going to get you guys back and talk about wellbeing matters and how life is to our young age groups, because I think that's really, really important. So, guys, thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate you coming early. You know, today, if we all know, it's our late starts for years 9 to 12. So thanks again for being part of our podcast and contributing to our school and being part of our school community. So thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. And if you'd like to follow us, just make sure you follow us either on, I have no idea what platforms we're going to be on. So follow us on YouTube,
St.
follow us on
Luke's
follow.
Just subscribe.
Just subscribe.
everything.
Was it
The
like?
notification button.
What is it?
Button.
Like,
Subscribe
subscribe.
and comment.
Like,
on
comment,
post
share, and
notifications.
subscribe.
See you later.
Click the merch in the bio.
Bye, guys.
See ya.